When were your prayers answered and delivered so much more? After my mom died, I moved back home to take care of Dad, where I begged God every day he'd pass away. He was 72 and couldn't manage on his own anymore. I had 2 kids of my own to raise, but family is family, right? So I juggled everything. Dropped the kids at school, then went to his house to make breakfast. Cleaned while he watched TV and complained the eggs were runny. Rushed to my part-time job at the pharmacy. Picked up his prescriptions on my lunch break. Got the kids from school and brought them to his place so I could make his dinner. Dad never said thank you. Not once. He'd grunt when I put food in front of him and turn the volume up on whatever game was on. My kids would do homework at the kitchen table while I scrubbed his bathroom and sorted his pills into those weekly containers. Some nights I'd fall asleep standing up doing his dishes. The worst part was when his buddies came over. Every Thursday they'd show up for beer and football. Old men who thought they were still 20 and could say whatever they wanted. They'd make comments about my body when I brought them snacks. "Your daughter's got a nice rack, Tom," they'd laugh. One of them grabbed my butt when I bent over to clean up their empties. I looked at Dad, hoping he'd tell them to stop. "She's got the same curves as her mom. God, I miss that woman." That's what he said instead, like I was just some object for them to look at. When they left, he'd be drunk and mean. He'd tell me I was getting fat, that I was a terrible cook, that Mom would be ashamed of how lazy I was. One time he threw his dinner plate at the wall because the meatloaf was too dry. I cleaned it up while my kids watched from the doorway looking scared, but I kept going. Every single day I showed up, cooked and cleaned and managed his medications and paid his bills with my own money because his pension wasn't enough. I was burning out, but he was my dad. You don't abandon family. Then came the night that changed everything. His buddies were over as usual. They were extra drunk because their team was winning. I was bringing out more beer when Dad grabbed the bottle from my hand. "You're too slow," he yelled and smashed it against my head. Everything went black. When I woke up, I was on the floor covered in beer and blood. My head was pounding. Dad was standing over me looking annoyed. "Finally, come change my diaper before I get my buddies to rough you up. I don't know when you got so lazy." That was it. That was my breaking point. I stood up even though the room was spinning. I looked at him and saw a stranger. This wasn't my father anymore. This was just a cruel old man who saw me as his personal servant. I left. I walked right out the door with blood still in my hair. Went home and hugged my kids and decided I was done. 3 years of my life wasted on someone who didn't care if I lived or died. For a week, I didn't go to his house. Didn't answer his calls. Didn't respond to his angry voicemails calling me selfish and ungrateful. My kids were happier. I was sleeping better. For the first time in years, I felt like I could breathe. Then the hospital called. Dad had fallen down the stairs and broken his hip. He'd had to crawl to the neighbor's house for help because no one was there. The doctor said he'd lost feeling in his lower back. He'd need constant care now. Real medical care. "Will you be taking him home?" the nurse asked. "No," I said. "He'll have to figure it out himself." I went to the store and bought a month's worth of frozen dinners. Dropped them at his house without going inside. That was all he was getting from me. No more cooking, no more cleaning, no more being his punching bag. He called crying a few days later. "Please come back. I'm sorry. I need you. You needed me for 3 years and treated me like dirt," I told him. "Now you can see how it feels to be alone." His butt buddies stopped coming around once they realized they'd have to help change his diapers. Funny how that works.